Welcome to Digital Shop Talk. We've got a special episode today. We're joined by a special guest, Rich. Rich, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, that's a long story. So a little bit about myself. I work for a large financial services firm. I'm a digital marketer, been in various forms of digital marketing for, I would say, about the past, say, 6 or 7 years or so. So direct marketing, mail into digital, social, and essentially any type of digital marketing.
Awesome. And I'm no linguist, but I take it you're not from Colorado.
I'm not, just visiting, just flew in. Yeah, originally from New Zealand.
Very cool. And what's the digital scene in New Zealand like?
You know what? It's actually pretty good. I think New Zealand gets away with a lot of. There's a lot more creative license and a lot more creative freedom in New Zealand. So there's some great agencies doing some pretty hardcore work out there. If you ever get the chance to fly to New Zealand, I would say take Air New Zealand, watch their safety video. And
I've heard about that.
The last one they did was like with Richard Simmons. It was awesome.
Hi, everybody. In the next 3 minutes, we're gonna work hard, work out, and get you fit to fly. Let's go!
That's amazing. And just real fast, any platforms that are popular in New Zealand that we aren't experiencing here in the United States, whether it's search or social or anything like that you know of?
Yeah, great question. Generally not. No, I think it's a follow nation, so it tends to follow a lot of the digital trends here.
Gotcha. So, Rich, tell me about, so you said you've been in the space for a little bit, starting traditional. What was your first digital experience? Tell me about your first time.
Oh man, so let's go back a few years. I want to say search marketing actually was the first digital experience. Yeah, essentially this is maybe 8 years ago, when I feel like search marketing was just an embryonic stage at the time, and it was very much just a very basic keyword strategy. I was working for a large product supply company. And that's how we got into it. That's how I got into it.
Awesome. So were you in there like actively managing AdWords accounts and things like that?
I was. Yeah, back in the old days.
That was actually my first real experience. We did spam for like a few months, and then we started doing paid search, and I would sit there all day and move bids up and down like a nickel, to see what would happen, which was exciting. I felt like I was doing something. So considering traditional and now digital, give me a little sense of what are some of the best practices that you see right now to make sure that those two sides of the house are integrated in kind of that overall marketing picture?
Yeah, I think from a digital perspective, I would say there's a couple of trends that are happening right now that I think you see a lot of companies moving towards, and I feel like it's, and sorry to coin a phrase, but this omnichannel approach that people are talking a lot about. But from my perspective, I feel like it's just more natural marketing, more cohesive marketing. Better presentation of product, or your brand, and essentially be able to do it across any channel.
Right.
I really think that's what omni marketing or omni-channel boils down to at the end of the day. But it has to be persuasive. You've got to do it right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that what we're seeing as there's more and more touch points, that story has to be really cohesive, and you have to kind of say, okay, we did all this effort, we got people here. Now what? How do we continue to hit them with the right content in the right time and continue to move them down that path?
Yeah, I agree. And I think this is, I do a fair amount of work with some of the large, social media houses. But this is one thing that, Facebook, I think, is a good platform to set this up for any digital marketer. But it's part of that storytelling philosophy, right? Yep. So it's the ability to introduce you to the brand softly. And move more towards a product or a placement that you think is going to be totally relevant to the person.
Absolutely. And we're back with the toolkit. So we're going to hit you with some questions here. We're going into 2016. If you were selling widgets and had a limited budget, what would you go all in on?
Oh man, okay, so I would say like the tried and true digital channels still remain, the channels that people should be focusing on and paying most attention to today. So there's a couple. I'd say your website first and foremost, right? Do it right. Have a great content strategy. Build out that strategy as it relates to the best organic experience you can deliver. Because at the end of the day, the leads you get, the products you sell, the customers you win there, they're free at the end of the day, right? So it's the best ROI channel. There's no debating that. I think the next format is email. I think email does exceptionally well. It has done well since its inception, and it just continues to outperform any other digital channel.
Now, would you say email as it relates to kind of a prospecting email or an in-house list?
Yeah, good question. I'd say more in-house lists,
Yeah.
right? But there's a lot of like new companies that are coming out there, and starting to build prospecting lists for you, lead gen strategies, things like that.
That aren't spammy.
Not spammy. No. People see through that these days. So
Right.
yeah, I feel like from a prospecting perspective, email works. I'd still say the search channels also work exceptionally well too.
I think that's a great point because there's so much change in digital all the time, and there's always this shiny object that so many times we forget about the basics. And if we're looking at our toolkit, we want to make sure we have a hammer and a screwdriver, and we don't need the fancy level with the lasers and everything to actually get stuff done. So I think that's great advice. Make sure that you've got your basics covered. And email is something we haven't talked about here yet on Digital Shop Talk, and it's sometimes the forgotten channel. You have this existing user base that you just need to activate and retain and re-engage, and it's a perfect medium to do it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Awesome. And it's time for the upvote. This week, Mr. Rich, can I call you Mr. Rich?
Sure, you can call me.
Is going to provide us with an update, and we're going to go a little broad here. So, what is your favorite thing in digital right now?
Well, it's extremely broad. For me, it comes back to actually some of the more personal kind of strategies are made around like how I consume media. And so for me, it's really around. I'm a cord cutter, so I cut the cable cord or the satellite cord about a year ago.
Right.
I'm full digital streaming in the house, through multiple devices and whatever. But for me, I'm just consuming an enormous amount of YouTube content right now, and so I'm heavily exposed to that type of medium, heavily exposed to advertising through that channel, right? And so for me, I feel like this is going to be a real breakout channel, probably from a couple of reasons. I think from a paid perspective, I think there are some brands who are partnering with some really good content producers to produce like really authentic content. And what I love about the content on YouTube is the fact that it has to be authentic because you just get beat down in the comments, right?
Yeah.
The other thing I think that's taken off is kind of vlogging. Like there's a guy I follow.
Like this right here.
It could be like this, yeah, exactly. I feel like there's a guy called Casey Neistat. I don't know if you know him. He's out of New York. I follow his channel, and he's just an incredible vlogger. He vlogs every day, and he has just amazing production quality for really low budget. But he's also a pretty good film producer as well. And so I think what you're going to see is more brands teaming up with these people who already have an audience. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's a great. I hadn't thought about that angle, but yeah, I mean, YouTube, second largest searched property. We don't have to talk about how many views and the content, and it's kind of it's open source. Anyone can post whatever they want. So I definitely agree with you. And this channel, this Digital Shop Talk, was petering along at a few hundred views a week, and we were able to quickly ramp that up by making sure that we were getting this message out to the right people. We've seen subscriber base grow, views on other pieces grow, and this is just a way for us to kind of share our thoughts and really position ourselves as influencers in the digital marketing space. So the fact that we do this every week and we spend a few bucks and get views for a penny, and it's a pretty amazing vehicle that, as digital marketers, we probably don't take as much advantage as we could. There's a lot of opportunity there. And so I think that is a great upvote and something we'll look into more and more for everybody for next year. So before we go out, New Zealand, the All Blacks.
You got it.
Is that how are they looking this? Is it rugby season?
Well, dude, last weekend they just won the Rugby World Cup.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Okay,
so,
well, there we go.
Sunday,
Very topical.
Go ABs.
Did you play rugby at all? Were you a rugby?
I played one game, got my two front teeth knocked into the back of my head, and that was the only game I played.
Well, excellent. Thank you so much for being a part of the experience today, and we'll see you next time.